go a long way in helping, just to give us an overview. So if you permit me, can I start with Mr. Emmanuel Oladiponi?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
I see.
Yes,
sir. My name is Oladiponi Emmanuel. So I run a business, a branding and printing business. The name of the business is EC8S Concepts.
Okay. Branding and printing. Okay. Thank you very, very much. The next person can member of the creating team, can you help me go through this?
Okay, sir.
The next person after Mr. Emmanuel.
Okay, sir. I think Abisoye, Abisoye Singing Bee. Please go ahead. Are you on the call? If you're not available, I can move to Mr. Adebayo Oduja.
Yeah, good morning, sir. I'm into sales and marketing. Currently, I'm just working under somebody. We are into table water. Thank you, sir.
Table water?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Azukaego.
Good morning, sir. Senior Chairman, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Azukaego ICOBA. I'm the Managing Director of Kuzo Global Services. We are into logistics, general contracts, and consumables. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, next we'll have Mr. Cletus Clement. If it's not available, Mr. Ogunyinka Olawale. This person is. Mr. Ogunyinka Olawale, are you there?
Hello, sorry, I'm trying to open my mic. This is Clem speaking.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Clem,
good morning.
Yourself and what's the business you're involved in the industry?
Okay, I am a visual artist and I have a business in the fashion and a merge of fashion and art.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm trying to turn on my camera. Sorry, that's why.
Okay.
All right. Ogunyinka.
I hope everyone can hear me. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Ogunyinka Olawale. I grew for a living. I just started a small-scale business in Sweden. I grew.
I'm not hearing very well. Can you speak up a bit, please?
My name is Ogunyinka Olawale. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I grew for a living. I do grading business, farming, and then, like small property business.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. I think next line is Olufunsho Oladiran.
Good morning, sir. My name is Olufunsho Oladiran, sir. I run a retail and e-commerce clothing and fashion business called Shoxibi Style Hub. Nice to be here, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Miss
Okay.
Abisoye.
Next person.
Yeah.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, sir. My name is Abisoye Adegoke. I'm the founder of Singing Bee Surprise Call Agency. It's an art and entertainment agency where we call people on their birthdays and
Okay, good.
to offer
Interesting.
apology services. I'm glad
Okay.
to be here.
All right. We're happy to have you.
Thank you, sir.
I think we run through everyone.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much. I can see that we actually have very, very diverse participants today on this call from very, very interesting industries. Okay, so I'll be going to this topic, risk management, business continuity, and crisis management. Can I have the first slide, please? The next slide. Okay. All right. As you can see on the screen, please follow me on the screen. A definition of risk basically involves identifying, assessing, mitigating potential risk that could impact your business in this particular instance or your organization. You know, and what are the key aspects of risks? Political. We all know very well that if there is a political strife, there are issues which we sometimes face in Nigeria. It really has an impact on our businesses. So these are things that we all react to when it does happen. But also it's also important to know how we react to it. What do we do in that particular instance? I will elaborate more on that as we go on. Economic risk as well. One of the key things that affects our business mostly is also the inflation. Inflation, economic downturn, you know, of course, economic downturn as a result of things like inflation. And in our particular instance, also currency fluctuation, which you might say your business is local. It doesn't have anything to do with importation. So why would it affect you? But it does affect everybody because unfortunately, we're in an economy whereby a lot of inputs are imported. Those who are in different industries, we all know, logistics guy, entertainment, and all that. The things that you're going to require to even run your business, most of them or some of them are imported for one reason or the other because they're not made here. So it has an impact, and it's a risk that you really need to look at because when you end up having your products or your services becoming so expensive, then you are more or less having a situation where your customers will now start having to decide on what are they going to do? Do they really need that service now? They're going to postpone it, or they're going to be looking for something cheaper. Operational risks. This is a risk that you see almost daily. We're going to talk about what do we do when this risk comes up, especially energy, power. You know, that's something that has become a constant in our time, so to say, because every day we have to worry about the consumption of electricity. Now that we have all this band A, band B, and now we can see energy cost is there. Once the electricity is not there, we have the energy cost of petrol or diesel that we need to look at. How do we manage all that? And then we also have the regulatory. Every industry has its own regulatory issues or regulators, so to speak. And because of that, you tend to you have to know what are the expectations of your regulator, so that you don't run foul of the law. This is also a very, very important aspect of your business. You can't ignore it. You should not ignore it, because, I mean, when they do come, we know that what happens at the end of the day is they throw you off course, and you start having to worry about what do you do to meet up with their expectation. And then I've got their financial risks. Yeah, those of you who, for example, are online, your business, most businesses now, they try to be online for one reason or the other, whether it's the advert, whether it's actually making a sale online. The risks are there, of impersonation, of somebody, wanting just to defraud you. So you need to also look at how do you cover those kind of risks. What do you do? How, you have to be at alert, much more or less, so to say, for that. Next slide, please. So what strategies do we use for this risks that have more or less are listed for us? These strategies are, just as I listed here for you. When you identify them, you also have to immediately gauge the impact they're going to have on your business, so that you can respond to it adequately. Also, you also have a situation whereby, because you're already aware of this, that this is a risk, then you start thinking of mitigation, or you have to think of mitigation. What do I do? What's going to happen? Let's take a simple example of, resources finance. Okay, you see that because of the inflation that is happening, cost of things have gone up. Your working capital is no longer adequate because things has gone up. So it's a potential risk that you're going to have a situation whereby your resources are not even adequate anymore to even keep you going at the level you were or you are, so to say. And then you have to start thinking. It's not when you now discover that the bank balance is almost zero before you start wondering, have I lost money? Did I buy what I shouldn't buy? Or did somebody take money from my account? Meanwhile, what has happened is what you were buying for 5,000 naira has now become 10,000 naira. And therefore, that means that your capital that you've been using to run both your operational and expansion is no longer adequate. It's now 50% of what you had before, because cost of things has gone up. And unfortunately, sometimes too, for those of us already in business, because I can see that quite a few or all of you are in business already, so you've had some years of experience. You also realize that having to pass it on to the customer fully is also a big problem. Because if you try to do that, then you end up actually probably losing customers in the process. So you have to find a way of managing that aspect. And then the third one I mentioned here is risk transfer. Again, small businesses, they tend to run away from insurance. Some tend to run away from insurance. But honestly, there's nothing better than having to ensure that your key assets are insured. Because when the risk materializes, you can be rest assured that the premiums will be paying, which you might even be complaining about. That why should I be paying 15,000 naira to insure my laptop that I'm using for the business? Why should I insure my premises? I don't expect fire to come. Why should I insure my car, my vehicle that I use for distribution? But when the risk comes, then it sets you back, because then you now have to start looking at how do you cover that from your resources. So transfer of risk of some item, of some things to insurance, for example, like I mentioned, is very key, very, very important. It should be part of your operational costs, to have insurance in in place just to make sure that at least you are fully covered. So challenges. I mean, these are things that we all know, but again, I would like to elaborate more on those areas: inadequate infrastructure, corruption. Corruption is something that we all know happens day in, day out. You are in an industry. Let's take the people who are in entertainment, for example. The challenges are there where you got La Sepa that might come in and say, you're making a lot of noise. And at the end of the day, what they ask you to do is not something you can afford to do or you can do immediately. And they throw offers at you. And they tell you, if you do not meet this offer, you can't move forward. So you need, these are risks of the business. So you have to make sure that to avoid the corruption issue, which can be a problem, then you have to really look at mitigating your risks, as much as you can. So one of the things I would like to say also to us here is that I know that most of you, that's why I asked about the different industries you are in. I know that most of you are already in business. So the issue of commencement, how you commence your business, is no longer at play here. But again, some things I should go through our minds is basically when I was starting out, was my industry a free market one or a monopoly, so to say? These are questions, of course, you've answered it one way or the other because you started the business. But again, it has its own impact because you might have a situation whereby you started the business probably because it's practical for you or it's sentimental. Oh, I like doing this. Yes, you have to go into business based on what you like. But the risk, there are so many different risks that comes with that, position that you take. Is it a practical business? Or I can see that I can sell, I'm good at selling. So let me go into that area of selling, or you just find yourself by chance there running the business. But as I can see, some of you have been in business 5 years, longer, 3 years, 9 years and above. So basically, I want to believe that you've seen, to some extent, the cycle of your industry, the up and down. From experience, I can say that if you've been in business for as much as 5 to, let's say, 9 years, then you should have experienced the cycle of that business itself. And what do I mean by the cycle? Basically, the risks that comes, that some are under your control, some are not under your control. For example, the economic risk that comes. If Nigeria is not doing okay, definitely it touches on your own industry. And then that's where you have to sit back and say, how do I overcome this challenge? Over the past 9 years, I would say, or 10 years, there's no way the economic downturns of Nigeria must have affected your industry, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in fashion, whether it is, even in printing. Because when people are not spending money, they're not doing marketing, they're not doing so many things. The printer themselves will have to depend on some other kind of business that might be seasonal to survive. So that is something that I believe we need to take note of. Then funding. Funding for me is one of the major challenges of small businesses and is a major big risk factor. And that, I believe, is what makes all of us sit up at night, every day, thinking of what do we do? How do we survive the following day? Because funding is very, very important. Is your business a low capital required? Is it a medium size of a company that requires small capital, or is capital intensive? Looking at your funding risk, and that's where by the time I touch a bit upon the continuity aspect of your business, I will elaborate more on that, on what and what you should be looking at. Then we've got the risk of competition. Your industry, definitely by now, you should have understood to some extent what competition does. I would love to talk about the clothing and fashion. It's a big industry in Nigeria now. And if you're in that industry, you basically need to be very, very innovative because, you know, you have so many people with talent in doing one thing or the other, designing and being creative as well. So for you to even be able to survive there, you need to be, you know, up and doing. And then you also need to be on social media. You know, so that kind of industry, the competition there is fierce, and that means you have to keep on thinking that competition is a major risk for me. How do I mitigate it? What are the resources? What are the things that I'm going to do or I'm going to use to overcome? I mean, you can also have a situation where you know, you are in a seasonal industry. For example, probably those who are in tourism, hospitality. Yes, there might be certain times of the year where you know that people would probably come out and want to go on holiday. Entertainment also as well. You also have to look at that. We all know that, at least in Nigeria, December is always a very, very busy month for entertainment in Nigeria, all kinds of entertainment. And you know, this is a time you have to prepare for things like that. Also, again, I want to talk about the risk of the economic environment that we're in. You know, when the economy is buoyant, you know, everybody is spending. You have various industries, you know, having a share of the pie, so to say, because you know things are really, really buoyant. But when it is not, people tend to be picky on how they're going to spend their resources. You know, they tend to be, you know, picky in what they do. So I would say to you that your economic environment goes a long way in also helping you to determine, you know, how to manage. Because when consumer preferences come in, then they tend to shift and say to themselves, oh, I don't need this now, I need this. So understanding your industry and knowing how to manage when you see that the economy is making people think twice about spending money, then you also need to you know, adjust adequately. So let's move to the next slide. Okay, business continuity. Okay, so for me, I've given you a brief definition of business continuity. It involves ensuring that your organization can continue to operate despite disruptions, threats, and crisis. So how do you manage this process? You identify your critical business processes. You assess the risk. Let me say something. It's very, very important for you to understand that this topic, they're all intertwined. Very, very much intertwined. Because as you are looking at the risk and understanding the risk and trying to find a solution to the risk, it's because you need your business, you know, continuity. You need continuity in your business. And then by the time you're also having a crisis situation, that means that the risk itself has materialized. That's why you end up in a crisis mode, so to say. And of course, when you end up in a crisis mode, what is making you get into that crisis mode is because you want your business more or less to continue. So you are back to the business continuity. What am I supposed to do? I need to mitigate this risk that I have allowed, you know, to come to play, so to say. So business continuity is a focal part of it all, is a center of it all. You want to continue your business and you need to take note of whatever it is you've done. If you've been successful or you've taken charge of the risk and know how to manage the risk, then definitely we can be rest assured that, you know, business continuity is the way to go. Now, I have those topics there for you, but I'm going to speak through them in different ways, just for you to have some understanding of the practical aspect of it all that I want to share with you. For continuity, you have to say to yourself, I have expenses, there are funds for the expenses and the expansion, or the working capital, so to say. You must have that. You must have enough of that to keep you going. And I'm sure this is something that you've been doing for most of you who have been in business for some time. But it's a very, very important part. It's a very, very critical part that you need to assess. As a matter of fact, it's becoming very, very important now with the way the economic situation is for you to be able to plan well ahead. Just like I explained to you earlier, that the inflation has more or less created a big challenge. If you had a million naira as of last year that you were using to run your business, and you were managing with that, and you were growing your business with that kind of capital, definitely right now, you need to have double of that. And the reason basically is because of inflation. Things have doubled in price. And that means basically you have to go look for it, because again, the expenses are not coming down. The expenses are there. These are practical examples I'm giving. These are practical things that we all are experiencing, but some of you might not really, break it down to really understand and appreciate how dangerous the inflation is to your business right now, what it has cost you, and all that. So funding for me is a very key aspect. I'll come back to that, share with you some ideas I have on how what you should be doing in that area. Then compliance with the industry. Do not take the regulations for granted. Try to understand the regulations of your industry, no matter how small it might be. No matter even if it doesn't exist right now, or you think it doesn't exist right now, other regulations are there that can affect you. Let's take a simple one, for example. The government has said, businesses that are 25 million, I think they've even increased it to 50 million naira, for small businesses are not taxable or should not be taxed. Basically, it means that you need to watch your turnover yourself. Now, I'm not saying if you have the opportunity of running a business for 100 million naira in a year, you should not run it because of a tax man you want to run away from, because already you're seeing your business growing. You've now in the 55 million naira, 100 million naira turnover, per year, and then you now say, oh, I want to run away because I don't want to pay tax. Now, since I'm over 51 million, I'm going to have to run away. No, it only tells you that you need to now understand a bit more about how to manage that extra or the situation where you're going to pay tax. And that means you need to learn a bit more about tax management. How do you? It is wrong for you to avoid paying tax, but it is not wrong. There's nothing result criminal if you try to reduce your tax. It is allowed for you to reduce your tax. So as a small business, and continuity is key for you, you need to take note of some of these things, because it's a risk whereby you've run the business for the year. The following year, you're trying to prepare your papers. You now discover that you are going to pay tax of 1 billion naira for a small business because, you've run the business is now doing well. And that 1 million naira becomes a challenge, because that means it's cash you must have to be able to pay government. So what does that tell you? Because if you're not aware, you're not seeing that, you did not see that as a risk. Well, it's a big risk. Because that means you have to look for that 1 million naira, and you cannot avoid running away from paying tax. So a bit of knowledge in those areas, which is a risk item, is there. It's a regulation, it's a government regulation, and all that. I don't say because it's the industry. I don't have any regulations for the industry. Let's take a business, for example. I mean, they might not have any strong regulation, they might not even have anything there. But when she starts doing well, what happens? And then she has to pay tax. It becomes a challenge because that is also waiting for her there. Then continuous marketing. some of these topics I'm talking about, they fall under this what I've mentioned here. For you, the continuity management and the challenges, they all fall under it. I'm only expanding it for you, just for you to understand. So you need to do continuous marketing. That for me is key, because you are a printer and everybody comes to you. You've got the machines there and everybody comes to you because they need to print, and you see yourself as the big guy on the street. You don't have many, or you believe that they all come to you, therefore you need to go out and look for business. Well, it's a risk, because again, you need to search for business on your own that you are looking for, and that gives you, gives you continuity. You're printing, doing some work for that company, and that means every time the company needs your services, they call on you, rather than you depending on people just walking in to come and run your business for you. You're into logistics, clearing, and you just want to wait for an opportunity of somebody that you just call on you. Why don't you also look at going out and letting people know that, this is what you do? So you can't stay back, because when everybody has more or less captured most of the business, you now realize that, you have not been doing marketing. By the time you get there, they tell you, oh, sorry, I already have somebody providing the services. Then another aspect which SMEs, small businesses, have a challenge with has to do with capital, qualitative human capital, experience. As you're growing, you get to a point where you can no longer do a one-man business. You have to have extra people working for you. And of course, you might be looking at cost and saying to yourself, I cannot afford to pay X amount, so I'm going to just take anybody and then try to train them. Unfortunately, if the person you are looking at paying them this mega salary, or you want them to handle some big responsibilities for you, then you're probably shooting yourself in the foot, because you might even be losing business in the process of that person doing that work that you have given to them, thinking that you're paying them what you can afford to. You need to look at that area very, very well and tell yourself that what perception do I want to put out there? How do I handle the people? Because if they ask questions and this person is not in the right frame of mind, is not educated enough or trained enough, then I might be losing business. I'm not saying you shouldn't train. You should try to look at that. But at the same time, depend on your level of business, it's important to have the right kind of people working for you. Now, there's also something that a lot of us sometimes do not also consider, which is also very, very important, and that has to do with the perks and profit sharing and making your staff feel part of the business. We tend to say to ourselves, owners of business, that I'm doing a lot, I'm sacrificing a lot, I'm the only one that should benefit from the business. I started the business, it's my money, blah, blah, blah. And then paying them salary, therefore, I don't hold them anything, I'm paying them their salary. Well, what you need to do, because this falls also under business continuity, is to have staff working with you that would be with you. And as you're growing, you tend to be able to give them more responsibilities and enable you to also look at expansion of the business. What else can you do? What other opportunities are there? So you can focus on that. And the business you've grown for 5 years, for 8 years, can be running on autopilot with the staff. Now, how do you make them feel part of you? It's also be looking at how to manage those extra things that can make you keep them. And some of these things are being handled more or less in a very different way from the normal, typical, this is your salary, this is what I do, this is what you're entitled to. There are some other perks you can also put there for them that probably they get every month or every quarter to make them feel appreciated. And this, to be honest with you, this helps your business a lot because you want continuity. You want a situation where the staff that you've given the responsibility to able to handle that while you are busy doing something else, and they grow with you. So for me, I would say that is something that I have experienced, I have done, and it has brought loyalty. It's given me a bit of comfort, a consistency. It's given me a good foundation. It has made it a lot easier for me to have peace of mind that, I think I'm not doing badly, taking care of my staff, and then they would also be there to play their own part. Then innovation, continuous innovation. If you do what everybody else does, then you are basically just telling yourself you don't have ideas, or you just want to be satisfied with where you are. No businessman wants to stay where they are. They want to grow their business. So you should be looking out. What are the things that are happening? What are the latest things that are happening? What are the latest fashion that is happening out there? And that, helps you to start saying to yourself, what do I do? Is there a new way that people are marketing their products? A little bit of social media that I see, people go on TikTok, people do WhatsApp, people do all kinds of things just to make sure that they throw their opportunities out there. I've not touched about it. Some people are into farming. Farming, are you going to just keep on doing the cassava alone? Or you are going to be looking at some other things that you might, also, try to do, rather than just keeping to only one particular thing all the time, So it's important that you look at how to continuously innovate. Then collaboration. Collaboration, that's for me, is very, very key. Are you in an industry where you need to collaborate? Now, collaboration comes in different ways. And this is where I will also tell you a bit about what can happen and what you can do to sort of mitigate that. You might have an idea. And again, you are scared that if you share your idea, with someone in your similar industry, and say, okay, can we collaborate on this? Because you probably see that it's better to collaborate than to try to do alone. You'll be scared that your idea might be stolen. What I would say to you in that regard is basically, because you're basically looking at your business, again, continuity. You want a situation where you can still be in that business. You've seen this idea. It's beyond you alone being able to do it. You need, again, funding might be a big issue there, where you need to collaborate with somebody. Do not let that fear make you not look at how to manage that. What do you do? There are so many ways. There are things we call non-disclosure agreements. You ask people, you want to develop something with somebody, you don't want them to steal your idea, so to say. And you tell them, okay, I want to discuss something with you. I want to collaborate with you on this area. But before I give you the ideas of what we can do, let us have this agreement in place so you know that this is something that we've discussed and we've agreed. It puts somebody on their toes too, that, okay, for you to even want to go down with that is something that's valuable. But don't forget, you are the one with the idea. So it's going to be difficult for anybody to take your idea away from you, so to say. So you should not necessarily be scared when you have those ideas to share them. It's when you are strongly willed that this is something that can take your industry to another level. This is something that is new. This is something that is different. You might just want to, look at it from that angle. Okay, so next slide. Let me talk about, I've spoken quite a bit on continuity, but I'll come back to one or two topics there. Crisis management. This, I'm not going to say much on this. Why? Because like I said, no businessman wants to be in crisis. Basically, it means that you have ignored the signs that have been coming up from the risks that you know are there. You decide to ignore them, completely, you were not thinking ahead, and then it now became crisis. And then you now have to start running helter-skelter too. Let's take, talk about the guys in farming, for example. We know that right now, the risk of kidnapping, risk of, the terror, I won't call it terrorism, kidnapping more or less, is there. But again, you know that it can, and it has made people stop farming in some areas. Okay? So since that is becoming a problem, then what am I doing for me to be able to stay in business? It might involve a shift. And what is a shift? It might involve you now using your experience of a farmer to change to someone that is actually buying produce from those who are farming. So that you still stay in the business. You start one leg in so that you are watching, because the environment where you are, it's challenged. It doesn't mean that you can't go back to farming. It only means that it's been a crisis there right now. And what are you going to do to stay alive, for your business to stay alive? And that is basically for you to say, you know what, I know about this business. I'm not going to push that completely. Let me move into another aspect of it, the challenges that we have on the farms. And that, it goes into many other areas. I just use as an example for your own industry itself. Right now, for those who are into the entertainment industry, as much as possible, you know that, yes, the inflation, the economic situation is making everyone think twice about spending. But somehow, some level of spending is still being done for one thing or the other. People who are doing bad days are still doing bad days, but some, rather than having to say, I want to spend elaborately, they cut back. The cutting back might be an opportunity for you because then your own aspect of that entertainment industry might be one that they will fall back to. Abisoye is into the bad and greeting stuff. You might have a situation where people would prefer to spend the money that they will spend just to appreciate the person on the bad day rather than having to have a big party. So who has the challenge? The guys with the halls are the ones that are going to have a challenge, but you are basically able to manage your own situation. So like I said, you do not want to get into that crisis stage. What you want to do basically is to avoid it completely by making sure that your risk management strategy, you are up and doing, you are on top of your game, and you are quickly responding to things that are very, very germane for the business. So just like I said, I'm not going to do much on the crisis management because I would not want you to see it as something that you must allow. More or less, it's supposed to be something that you should not allow to happen. You should mitigate, you should avoid it entirely by being proactive. Finally, let me now elaborate a bit more on one aspect of this business continuity that I think small businesses need to look at. Funding has always been a problem for most businesses in Nigeria, most businesses in our climate. And from the little experience I've garnered, I see that most of the time we have to depend on multiple sources for funding. We all, one way or the other, must have depended on family for support in funding. Parents, brother, sister, uncle, for you to pitch to them, for them to assist with some funding. Now, those kind of funding sometimes comes at zero cost because you're able to persuade them to do something for you. But you also look at the other levels too as you're going also tap into other resources, other sources of funding. One of the challenges I've seen with small businesses is that fact that sometimes it takes them time. You've been in the business for a long time, so I want to believe strongly that some of the things that I'm talking about are things you've seen. You've probably been guided and you've been able to overcome them. But I want to emphasize that it's something that you should continuously be conscious of. And what is that? Running your business entirely on the business platform. When I say platform, basically running it through your company account. You should avoid having to do a lot of passing funds to your personal account. Why? Because when it comes to being able to access funds as you grow bigger, it involves you having to depend on the banking system, whether it is the fintech, whether it's the banks. And it is what they see that you are doing through your accounts that really gives you the opportunity to access what you want to access or what they can give you based on what they've seen. A lot of new business people tend to, want to avoid one thing or the other. I'll say, oh, it's my money, therefore, you should go to my personal account. But honestly, I think it's a big mistake that a lot of businesses do, and those who are already doing it, realizing that yes, they run those things through their business account. Definitely, I'm sure they will see the benefit because when it comes to accessing funds from the banks, these are things that they look at to be able to tell you what you can borrow and what you cannot borrow. It's becoming very, very important for you to also ensure that you are in the credit space. What do I mean by credit space? Some of you might be scared. You should be scared to borrow money because, of course, the challenges of borrowing money, depending on your plan on how you're going to pay it. But you can't. I've seen that it's very difficult for you to grow without having to borrow at some point in time for your business, because, of course, if you said you were deriving profit from your business and the profit is enough to grow your business for you, I would love to know that about that business. I would not mind if you can share your business with me too. But I know that most businesses do not have that scenario because when you grow, you've got a lot of other things that you need to spend money on. Capital expansion is there and all that stuff. So I'm advising that you look at that for your continue of your business, where you create a situation where you are in the credit space. And what do you need to do? Try to tap into one form of credit or the other. Because now, I'm sure you've heard about credit score, credit reporting. All those things are becoming very, very, these are things that make it easy for you to access funds. And as a businessman, you should give yourself the opportunity to be able to access funds from different areas. So it's important for you to look into that, try to explore that, because the more you are in that credit space, the more you can access funds easily, because once you are paying back the loans, your credit score gets better, and you can always access funds when you need them. My time is up now. It's already past 11. I should give room for you to ask questions, and then we'll take it on from there. Creating team, please, you can take over now for questions.
Thank you very much, sir. I must say, even though I'm not an entrepreneur, I really enjoyed the session, and I think I picked one or two things that are applicable even as not a business owner. So it was a very, very insightful session. Please, if you have questions, you can signify by raising your hand, or you could just start talking. We have a short time for questions. You could also drop in the chat if you don't want to unmute. Question anyone. If perhaps so we would respond from there. Thank you very much, sir, for honoring our invitation.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here and assist
Yes.
to offer and share my experiences with them. All right, it's quite interesting. No questions. I would have thought,
I think there's,
you know.
Someone dropped on the chat. How do you identify crises before they emerge instead of managing them when the harm is done?
Okay, well, good question. Just like I said, you just have to have a very good eye for identifying risk. You just have to, you know your industry, and you know the risk that can come. So you, like I said, you should not get yourself into the crisis. Yes, if the crisis comes, you know, because you just could not, there's not much you could do, it basically means you come back to the strategy on business continuity. You basically have to come back. Crisis has happened, and then what do I do? Depending on the kind of industry you're in, I mean, I can just tell you that what you just have to do, go back, is to tell yourself, how do I now solve that problem that is going to affect my business for moving forward? Is it funding? Then you're going to plan. If it's funding, what do I need? I need money. How do I assess the money? What are the options that I have? Approaching here, going there, doing this, doing that, or I need to, you know, change my strategy on how I approach customers, or the economy is the one that has created this crisis for me. There's so much, like I said, with the farmer. I mean, we know when people could not go to the farm, but produce is coming out. So why don't you get into that space and tell yourself, okay, I can't farm, but you know what? I can also bring it to the market. What do I do to bring the market? I need to get involved in that aspect that I was ignoring before. That people come to my farm, they come to buy and take it away. So what stops me from also looking into that, for me to actually do that? So you're managing that crisis you have of not being able to go to the farm for now by being in the other part of it. Once you see that there's opportunity to go back to the farm, then you go back to the farm, and you might end up even doing both together. Being able to cut away your own produce yourself rather than depending on people to come and pick it up from your own farm. So those are the kind of ways I believe that you could mitigate the crisis that has come forth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Olufunsho, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for the presentation, sir. I would like to ask that is it okay to continue to use my own personal savings to run my business for now, considering the fact that it's a business I run by myself currently? So I am yet to get staffs or resources to work for me. However, currently I'm actually looking out for a social media manager to help me manage things in that aspect, and also probably a content creator. So, and I'm not ready to look for funds for my business for now, because the way I'm running the business does not need me to get people. Most importantly, I just probably try to I know probably about 10 or 20 people that I'm working with. I try to do B2B. I create proposals for B2B that, okay, this is what I want to supply you guys. And based on relationship over the years and on the trust, they tend to like give me like 80% of what I need. Then probably when I'm done with the service or the purchase, they balance me with the 20%. And it is trusted businesses for now. So I just wanted to know that, is there a need for me to get a loan? Why do I need to get a loan to scale for this kind of business? Thank you, sir.
All right, very, very good question. And this is really going to make it easy for me to practicalize it for you right now. Now, it is not good for you to be running your business on your personal account. And the reason basically is the fact that when you approach anyone, is either you're going to be borrowing money on your personal name, and to borrow money on your personal name, they need to know whether you are earning a salary. Now, you cannot say the business you are doing that you're running into your account is a salary. So you already had put yourself in a disadvantaged position where in a year's time, 6 months' time, you now need to scale up and you need ₦1 million, for example. You find it difficult to get from anywhere because nobody's going to give it to you because you don't have the kind of information that will make them make a decision or be able to analyze your business for them to be able to access the fund. So I would encourage you immediately go and set up a company name. It's very easy. You can do it online, or you can also, if you have anybody that you know is an accountant or whatever, they can always help you, a lawyer. They can always help you to set it up. It's for small businesses, it's not that expensive. I believe that by the time you're going to spend 25,000, 30,000 naira to get your tax ID and the incorporation, So when you start pushing everything through your business account, that is where you are creating a record for you to be able, because you should, as a SME, no matter whatever you're doing now, you should be thinking into the future. And the way to think into the future is to set yourself up well for your business to grow. So means that set up the account, open a bank account, and be letting all your payments for the business come there. Now, let me tell you some little things that we all small businesses ignore. Do you know that when you are running stuff through your business account, from there you can pay your salary. You can pay yourself. That money that you spend every day, transport money, this and that, you just have to do a bit of documentation. That, okay, you're traveling, you're moving around, you need transport money, you take it from the business account. You call it transport. You want to pay yourself something at the end of the month. As a matter of fact, I would always say to everyone that at the end of each month, pay yourself something from your company account into your personal account. Whether you pay yourself 50,000 naira and say, okay, this is my own for my business account. It's still your money. But what you are doing, you are creating a record for your credit score, for anybody to, if you want to do a salary advance, if you want to do small loan from anywhere, you will be able to show them that my salary is 50,000 naira because you are paying yourself from your business account into your personal account. You can still borrow your business at 50,000 naira tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with it because it's still your business. But what you have done is to create a record that you are paying yourself some money from your business. Now, the turnover that you are running on your business is what is going to qualify you for you to be able to access loans for your business down the road. So you are actually setting yourself ready for the growth and the expansion that will come forth. Let me stop there because, if I try to break it down more, I'll be spending a lot of time. But this is something that I always say to everyone, you must do it. Stop running business through your personal account. Go set it up. Taxes is not a problem. As long as you're under 50 million, tax is not a problem for you. You're not going to face any issue when it comes to tax. But when you run it properly, you can always go somewhere and say, I need 100,000 naira, which you are going to pay back in the next 30 days, for example. Your customers might give you a big order. And you can see that, yes, I need 100,000 more, 200,000 more. And you know that you're going to get that money back. And you can pay off your loan. Even if they charge you at 3% or 2%, with the interest, you can still make a profit. So that's a move forward. Don't stay put where you are and say, oh, I don't have money, therefore I will not borrow. You borrow with common sense and with a lot of analysis, and that's how you grow the business. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. We'll just be taking the two questions I'll read the two of them together, the two questions in the chat. So we'll use that to round off this session. So he's asking, my question is based on insurance policy, how it helps logistics companies. That's one question. Then second question, Q is based on the credits borrowed. As a cinematographer, how can I manage that space?
Okay, so well, you're going to repeat the second one for me, but let me handle the first one.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
The first one has to do with, remind me again.
Insurance policy for logistics.
For logistics company. Well, it depends on the aspect of it. Okay, logistic company means basically you probably have bikes, if you are, doing those kind of deliveries, but whatever it is, if you have is an asset that you have acquired, it's important to insure it. Because one, a bike might be stolen. Like I said, laptop that you're using to work in the house, might be stolen. All these things, you need to insure them. It's good to insure them. Put this as part of your cost of running the business. The peace of mind is this. Anything that happens, you go to the insurance company. There's a value that you have insured it for, whether it's a 300,000 naira, 400,000 naira, and you pay a premium on it. Yes, year one, you might not even file for anything. You might not even claim anything. So don't see that you're not claiming as you losing money. No. When you want to claim, that's when you have a peace of mind and say, oh, thank God, the 500,000 naira that I've been spending 15,000 naira every month or every year, paying for, and I probably spend 100,000 naira. Now I'm going to get my 400,000 naira back. So, you're not losing. So with the psychology that we all have is that since I did not make any claim, I'm throwing money away. No, you're not throwing money away because it can happen any day, anytime, and it doesn't tell you when it's going to happen. So insurance is very key that I would advise you to gradually manage to cope with because of the cost and build into your business plan. Second one, Ore.
Thank you, sir. I think I myself don't fully understand the question. So I don't know if Mr. Ogebule Said, if you would rephrase or if you want to talk so we'll understand, but we have limited time. Abisoye, please go ahead. Please, time. Your question needs to be brief. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Good morning. So the question you answered about being able to predict crises before they happen, my question is actually related in that line. So we are trying to bring in more call agents, surprise call agents. We want to control the quality. Of course, we'll train them and then they can make calls the way that we, the current agents, are making those calls. But the question now that I want to ask is, how do we protect we like to call it intellectual property? Because I see a crisis that might emerge in the nearest future. By the time we reveal all of the format of calling, how to engage call recipients, how to celebrate them, how to make them feel the right way, and we teach them all of those communication skills and all of that. How do we manage the intellectual property from not going beyond the brand? Because of course they are individual people and they might want to set up something similar, thereby increasing the competition. So that's my question. How do I manage that in advance?
Okay, so that is a very, very tricky one. You would probably get yourself into an area that you didn't plan on for you to be able to gradually secure yourself. First of all, I would say to you that because it's an intellectual property area, when you take them on, try to make them have sign an agreement with you. It's very, very important. And that is where you might be able to more or less separate them, the good ones from the bad ones. Those who actually want to do the work are coming in and have the experience, they would stay. Those who are intentional, they want to come in, tap your brain, tap this one, and then quickly run away, and go start their own. Now, I'm not saying it will not happen in some extent, but you can reduce it because when they come in and you explain to them why they need to sign the agreement, then they will understand why. So if they want to work, they'll work. If they don't want to. So those who really want to, you'll be able to keep them and then, go through that process. It's a very tricky one. Two, if you see that it's becoming an industry, so to say, then you should be part of probably one of the people that, the progenitors, where you're going to come and, invite your other colleagues that are into the same business and talk about how do you all protect your intellectual property. And that means you're coming up with some sort of, not regulation per se, but more or less operating procedure so that your labor will not be, because don't forget that if you believe you are now in an area where you need to protect the way it's been done, then you're going to be sending a signal to those who require services that you also have a process, a policy, a regulation, so to say. And that can even garner more customers for you because they will know that there's some ethics that's been put into the business itself. So it's a long-term thing. And that's why the collaboration I was even talking about can come in. You won't say because all of you are competing But when it comes to regulation, you might all come together and say, yeah, let's put something in place. Let's all try to practice this, and all that stuff. And it can go a long way. So it's a gradual process. But you have to be bold when you want to do that, because it sets you apart. You want to market yourself to companies and say, this is what we do, and this is what we have in place. They can also look at you and say, yeah, we like, this kind of a company that is very professional in what they're doing, and we're going to take them on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Well
Okay,
noted.
all right. I think I've answered all the questions. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I still don't understand this person's question. Mr. Ogebule, I don't know if you would just unmute and quickly ask. I think you said, how can I manage credit spaces or borrow in my field? So are you asking that how can you navigate the credit as loan system in your
What industry is it in?
Cinematographer. Is it cinematographer?
Oh, okay, cinematographer. Again,
Yeah.
like I said, it's very simple. If you're in a business, cinematography, set up a business account. Okay, stop running everything through your personal account. Okay, so in the process, as you grow, with all your customers, when you approach anybody, fintech or the banks, and say, I want to borrow, they were going to look at what you do and be able to tell you. So that's how you get yourself into that space. It's very simple. Like I said, everybody should try to make sure that they start running, set up a company name, blah, 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 and then start running your business through that. And then everybody can see. So when you want to access funds, when you tell them this is the business you do, they'll ask for your bank details, your statement of account, they'll look at it, and then they'll tell you, okay, you can borrow 100,000, we can borrow you 50,000, we can borrow 1 million naira. And that's how you build, yourself, from there. So it's possible. Look at the government offers now. Again, that time is not on our side. I would have said a bit about the government offers that is out there. You should keep on looking out, because without SMEs in any country, the country really cannot really progress, because the small businesses are the ones that are key in any country in the world. Go check it out. So you are a very important aspect of the business community, for the government. So they would always throw things at you to assist you. And there are a lot of things out there that the government is trying to assist you with. Tap into them. But if you don't try to build your credit score or, assess some sort of loan, for me, it's a trick, it's a game. Assess some sort of loan so your name is there, that you borrowed 50,000 last week and you paid it back. You can stop there once you borrowed and paid back. The day you need money, that's when you see that your credit store, or because your name is already in the database. The funny thing is that if your name is not in the database that you've ever borrowed before, it's not that easy. I'm talking from experience, it's not that easy. But once your name is in the database before, and you paid before, you paid off, you find it very interesting that you can build from there and be able to access funds. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I think there's just one more, but I think I would answer this. I think the question is, I actually need to know how to grow my business, and I need a lot of finance currently. I tried all my possible best to use my personal money. It all results in a loss. So for this person, I would just advise, that's part of the purpose of the accelerator program. Pay attention to each mentor. And I'm sure with everything that has been said, even the questions asked so far, you should have been able to note one or two things you would need to work on to improve your business. So I would advise that you just pay attention and see how it relates to your field and how you can apply this in your own business. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Claire. Appreciate you. All right. Thank you. Have a nice day. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Yes, sir. So I'll be handing over to Modesta to introduce
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for the last session, and thank you for paying attention. So the next mentor, I would like to call on Mr. Olalekan Bankole Emmanuel, the CEO of Extra Mile Africa, and he's going to be talking to us on business planning, development, and scaling strategies. So yeah, there will be a lot of things to learn from this particular session. So please pay attention, and thank you so much. Sir, please, you could continue. Sir, please. Okay.
Okay. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good morning, please.
I'm trying to change my background. Can you, sorry, I want someone to take me through that. Maybe we can do that for the next 1 or 2 minutes, if that is possible. Sorry, can I have a flow through of
Okay, sir.
a guide? I don't have, my peer is not here.
Okay.
So
I'm coming. Okay, so you have the background image in your phone, right?
on my phone.
Progress.
Let me see.
Yes, I sent.
Is it like, do I have it on my WhatsApp?
Yes, sir, but I'll forward it again.
Please do, please.
All right, sir. Okay. I've sent it.
Okay. So what
Okay, if you click on
do with it?
okay, I'll show you how to do it. The echo. I'll move far away and speak from that.